Today, we are touring one of Louisville's most up and coming neighborhoods. It has both a historic charm and a vibrant community feel. Today, we're in Louisville's Shelby Park neighborhood. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, this is probably one of the most controversial neighborhoods I've ever filmed on my channel. So I'm really excited for you to hear more about the pros and cons, to take you on a driving tour of this neighborhood so you can really see what the streets look like. Of course, we're going to hop on the map together so that you can understand where Shelby Park is situated. But most importantly, I want you to stick around to the end of this video so that you really understand both the pros and the cons of living in Shelby Park. Hi, I'm Katie Skeen, a local realtor here in Louisville, and let's jump right into it. Let's talk about some of the pros of living in the Shelby Park neighborhood. Now, I wanted to tell you, I actually reached out to 5 different friends and clients who are residents of this neighborhood, and I asked them for their pros and cons list. They had a lot of the same pros and cons, but these are coming straight from residents who actually live in this neighborhood. The first pro that they all agreed on is that this neighborhood is incredibly walkable. It's centered around this park that I'm taking a walk in here today, and most of the residents can come straight to this park. It's a community gathering space. There's also multiple restaurants and bars within walking distance. Of course, there's the Canary Club, there's Toasties, there's Atrium Brewing, there's a new restaurant. I'm not actually sure of the name of it. You can also walk to this little Breeze wine market. So they have like cheeses and wines and just like snack foods there. But there are multiple things that you can walk to within this neighborhood. That is really special in Louisville, Kentucky, because most of our neighborhoods do not score high on the walkability score. But this is one neighborhood that actually does. Now, the flip side to it being walkable is this is one of the reasons that this community has such a vibrant community feel. You can see here this morning in Shelby Park, we've got several families who are meeting up in the park to play and different people walking around. I know after work, a lot of people are walking their dogs in the park. So a lot of people are coming together, and that really spurs on this sense of community where you know your neighbors. A lot of the properties here in Shelby Park have a front porch. And so one of my friends and clients mentioned to me that when they're taking walks, a lot of people are out on the front porches. A lot of people know their neighbors, a really strong sense of community because of the walkability in this neighborhood. The second pro about living in Shelby Park is that it's very affordable. If you're trying to attain the dream of home ownership, then this is going to be a neighborhood where you can purchase a single family home for lower than Louisville's median price point. The median price point for a single family home in Louisville, Kentucky so far in 2024 is right around $274,000 in comparison to the Shelby Park neighborhood, where the median price point of a single family home is $210,000. Now, real estate has appreciated quite a bit in this neighborhood over the last 10 years. That's directly correlated to the revitalization efforts that are happening here in Shelby Park, but it's not uncommon that you would find a distressed property that's close to $100,000. And of course, because Shelby Park is a more affordable price point, it is going to be attractive to first-time homebuyers, young professionals, people that need to get into the market at that lower than average price points. The third pro that all of my clients said about this neighborhood is the location. It's very conveniently located. It's very close to downtown. You have easy access to the interstates. I'll make sure to show you this when we're on our map tour, but it is situated right in the center of the city. So if you're wanting to get downtown, if you're wanting to get to the New Lou area, Germantown, the Highlands, any of these neighborhoods that are within the city or within that Waterston Expressway, you're going to have really convenient and easy access to those places. You're also going to have really easy access to the airport as well as the University of Louisville. Here in a second, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the real estate here in Shelby Park, as well as take you on a driving tour of the neighborhood. But before we do that, I wanted to tell you what a privilege it is to make these videos for you. I hope you feel like you're really getting a sense of what it's like to actually live in these neighborhoods in the Louisville, Kentucky area. But one thing I like even more than making these videos is actually helping people relocate to Louisville, Kentucky, or move within the metro Louisville area. I've helped, like I said, several clients sell their houses in Shelby Park, and I've also helped several clients actually move into the Shelby Park neighborhood. It's really important on your house search to make sure you're connected with someone who's going to listen to your needs, who's going to help you understand the neighborhoods, and who's going to help you get into that neighborhood that's going to be a really good fit for you. So if you're interested in more information about this Shelby Park neighborhood, or if you're trying to figure out which neighborhood would be a good fit for you, please go ahead and reach out to me. Here's my contact information. I want you to text, call, email, or set up a Zoom invite with me, but pick up your phone right now. Reach out because it would really be my honor and my privilege to be able to help you find the right fit for you in Louisville, Kentucky. Let's talk more about the real estate here in Shelby Park. Now, as far as the style of homes, a lot of these homes are going to be bungalow style. Some of them are going to be shotgun and camelback style, but they tend to be really small lots, closely located together. Now, that of course contributes to this community feel that we've talked about, but you'll see that on the driving tour that these lots are smaller than average. It's one house right after the next. A lot of these homes actually date all the way back to the early 1900s, and then of course they continue to be built and developed into the 30s and 40s. And today, what you're going to see in this neighborhood is a lot of homes that have been completely remodeled, basically like a brand new house on the inside, or they've taken some of that history and charm and they've been able to revitalize it and bring it back to its former glory. A lot of renovating happening in this neighborhood. And then, of course, you have some residents that have lived in their home for many years. Some of those homes are going to be a little bit more distressed. It's not uncommon that in this neighborhood, you might be able to find a totally distressed fixer-upper that you're basically going to have to take down to the studs to be able to get it back to a livable condition. The median sales price for a home in 2024 in the Shelby Park neighborhood is $210,000. The cumulative median days on market is 19. Now, this number actually really surprised me. I think when homes are priced correctly in this neighborhood, they're tending to sell faster. But we do see that as our market has started to slow down, some of these houses are sitting longer than just 5 seconds, which is what we've been seeing over the last few years. So you can expect houses to stay on the market for around that week to 2 week mark in this neighborhood. Now, if we look over the last 12 months at the lowest and the highest real estate, this is what we've got. The lowest real estate that sold in the last 12 months was a 4-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,426 square feet single family home that sold for $70,000. The most expensive house that sold was a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 2,157 square foot home, and it sold for $340,000. Now, the homes that are pristine, that are move-in ready, that have been completely renovated, we're seeing a few of those that are getting up over the $300,000 mark, but mostly you are going to see that mid $200,000 range for a single family home here in Shelby Park. Now I'm going to hop in the car and I'm going to take you on a driving tour of this neighborhood so you can really get a sense for what it looks like to be on the streets of Shelby Park. Okay, we're going to go ahead and jump on the map and we're just going to take a quick look at where Shelby Park is located. So you can see this faint red outline of where it is. And it's the neighborhood that centers all around this park where I was filming most of the video today. So it's centered around this park. And then I want to give you a feel for where it is in relation to the city. So there's downtown Louisville. And here's Shelby Park right here. So as far as where you are situated within our outer belts, you are well within the Watterson Expressway. You are right in the middle of the city. Here is downtown Louisville here. Shelby Park is really just a few neighborhoods away from downtown. If we look at how far Shelby Park is from downtown, it says that it is 9 minutes to get to downtown. You're not getting on any expressways. You're going through back roads and you're hopping over to 3rd Street to get downtown. When they talked about proximity to the interstate, of course, you have easy access to 65. 65, of course, will go north up to Indianapolis and it will go south down towards Nashville. But 65 is going to be your main interstate. And then you're going to have really easy access to both the Watterson Expressway and Interstate 71 as a result of being close to 65. So if you're going to the south, you're going to come down 65 and you can get on the Watterson Expressway going either direction, or you can continue on towards E-Town, Bowling Green, and Nashville. If you go north on 65, of course, you can cross the toll bridge to get over to Jeffersonville, Indiana, and head towards Indianapolis. Or you can take 71, which gets you out to the east end of Louisville and, of course, goes on up to Cincinnati, Ohio. If you are trying to get to Interstate 64, you are going to take that same 65. And this area in here is called Spaghetti Junction. It's very confusing. It's where a bunch of different interstates are coming together. So I highly recommend that you really follow the signs and make sure you're in the right lane because it's easy to get confused. So you'll come up 65 and you'll hop on 64 to head out to the east end of Louisville. As far as proximity to the airport, you are very close to the Louisville airport, which is right here. You're very close to Churchill Downs. The Fair and Expo Center is located right here. So those are probably a 10 to 12-minute drive to each one of those things, easy access to all of those areas. Now, we talked about how walkable we are to the park and to the restaurants and bars. Of course, as you saw, the park is the centerpiece of the neighborhood. It's a community gathering spot. Even when I was out there filming this morning, there were all sorts of people taking walks, getting out with neighbors, getting exercise, playing with kids, all of those things. Here is Toasties Tavern. It's just a few blocks from that main park. And then you don't see it on the map, but it is located right here is that Canary Club and the Breeze little grocery store. It is the cutest little spot. Let's see if we can see some more pictures of it. I think it just has the absolute best atmosphere. Okay, perfect. Look at this. That looks amazing, right? And actually, on Sunday nights, they have half-price bottles of wine. You're going to see a lot of people from the neighborhood walking over to the Canary Club, getting a drink after work. They have events there with live music. They have a little patio area in the back. That looks delicious. Oh my gosh, I love it. And then half-price wine, how can you beat that? So honestly, it feels a little bit upscale at the Canary Club. And then right next to the Canary Club, Breeze Wine and Coffee Shop. There it is. It is right next. They're actually connected. Canary Club and Breeze are connected to each other. So if you're wanting to get a cup of coffee in the morning, you can go in there and get a coffee. But also they have this great little market in there. That was actually Canary Club. But look, they sell olive oils and vinegars and wine and little appetizer type foods, but it's this really cute little market. Look, they have soaps, a lot of local stuff. You're not going to be able to do your main grocery shopping here, but this is a really cute little place to visit or to get some coffee. Okay, up here. So again, just to remind you, here is the park. And then Atrium Brewing is another place that is a great brewery. So that is something you're definitely going to want to check out. But those are the main hot spots of where you're going to go. Another main spot that I cannot believe I forgot to mention earlier in the video is this Logan Street Market. Now, this is newer in the last couple of years. This is walkable from Shelby Park as well. This is a really cool place, okay? They've totally converted this big warehouse and they have these different vendors, but it's just this open market. So mostly it's food, but I think they do have a few other soap vendor, plant vendor, that type thing. They're going to sell meat and produce, but then a lot of times you're actually just going to the different vendors for food. So I think they have a cheese shop. They have a wine bar. They have a barista. There's a bagel place in there. What else do they have in there? Like a Chinese restaurant, a Mexican vendor. So they have all sorts of shopping and food in the Logan Street Market. This is definitely a community gathering spot. Ooh, look at that. That looks good. Pastries. Now, Shelby Park is bordered by this railroad. Over here is the Shelby Park area, and on this side of the railroad tracks is Germantown. Now, Germantown has a lot of great restaurants and bars, even more so than Shelby Park. If you're interested in more information about Germantown, definitely check out one of my videos about Germantown. But it's important to note that you have just really closely located a lot of really fun spots to eat and go and have as a community. Probably going to be able to walk there. You're a little bit far, but if you wanted to ride a bike, Shelby Park has great bike paths, so you can definitely check it out that way. Now, as far as grocery stores are concerned, you are most likely going to be shopping at Kroger. There's a lot of one-way streets, so you got to make sure that you're going the right way, but Goss is the way that you're going to want to get there. It's the Kroger on Goss. That's going to be your main grocery store. If you put it to the Target test, you're going to see that it's about a 13-minute drive to Target. You're definitely going to need a car to get down to Target. It's having you get on to 65 and go over to the Watterson Expressway, and you're going to get off at the Newburgh exit. and go over to Target. Now, in this area of Target, there's quite a lot of things over here. You've got Walmart, Lowe's, there's a Kroger in this area. And then right up here in this area, you've got Costco and Chick-fil-A as well. So it's a hop onto the freeway and a short 12-minute drive to get to some of those type places. Now, if you're wanting to shop at Aldi, and we put that into the map, it looks like it's 3.2 miles, a 9-minute drive. It's a pretty easy drive if you get down to Preston Highway and down you go. You guys know that I absolutely love Aldi, so we got to get some deals at Aldi if you're wanting to shop at that grocery store. But your main two grocery stores are going to be this Kroger up on Goss, which is obviously closer, and then Aldi down here. If you're wanting to go to Trader Joe's, Whole Foods in the mall area, that's going to be a much further drive, actually. Let's just get to Whole Foods from the Shelby Park area. Yeah, actually, it's telling you to take Route 64 and then get onto the Watterson going north. Of course, this is this whole Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Mall of St. Matthews, Oxmoor Mall. This whole mall area and corridor out here is about a 16-minute drive. So although it's not just a quick drive the street, because you are having such easy access to these different interstates, you can get around the city pretty quickly. I would say within the Watterson Expressway, you're probably 15 minutes from anywhere. And then from that Gene Snyder Expressway, it's going to take you closer to 20 to 25 minutes to get out there. But a central and conveniently located area within our city for sure. Now, a commonly asked question that I get all the time about neighborhoods is, what about the schools? Shelby Park is within Jefferson County, and so it's part of the Jefferson County public school system. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you're well aware that JCPS can be a very complicated and confusing school system to navigate. So, if you're thinking about living in the Shelby Park neighborhood, I want you to make sure that you get onto the JCPS School Finder for every single address that you are considering purchasing so that you can see what your school choices are. This neighborhood is part of what JCPS calls a school choice zone. So this is part of the not redistricting, but like the boundary lines were changed a few years back, and they created this system called the school choice zone. Now, this is supposed to be for the West End neighborhoods. I don't really consider Shelby Park to be a West End neighborhood because it's to the east of 65, but they have included this area as part of this school choice zone. So students that live in this neighborhood have elementary school options that they call close to home, and then they have elementary school options that are far from home. So there were so many elementary school options for this neighborhood. I decided not to give you the Great Schools ratings, but I would really recommend that you get onto the Great Schools website and you can put each one of those elementary schools into the Great Schools website to see what their rating is on a scale out of 10. Now, when it comes to middle schools, you don't have as many choices. These students in this neighborhood are able to attend Mazik Middle School. Mazik has a Great Schools rating of 7 out of 10. The other really important thing to know about Mazik is it's also a magnet. Part of the school is a math, science, and technology magnet. So you will be having some other students from outside of this cluster actually attending this middle school as well for their math, science, and technology program. The high school for this area is Atherton High School. It has a Great Schools rating of 7 out of 10. I know a lot of people really appreciate and enjoy Atherton High School. It also is one of JCPS's only schools that has a IB or International Baccalaureate program. So if your student is interested in that program, I highly recommend that you talk to Atherton, that you get the information about that program. We do have some cons about living in the Shelby Park neighborhood. Now, again, I want to remind you, these are straight from my clients. These are their cons of living in this neighborhood. The first one that they mention is the street parking. Now, the situation is there are some alleyways behind properties. It's unusual that you're going to have a garage in Shelby Park. If you're really lucky, you might have like a parking pad on the alleyway. That's possible. You might have a garage, but probably not. And so as a result, most people are parking on the street. There's no assigned spots. It's first come, first served. So if you're coming during a popular hour or in between the rush hour hours, you're maybe going to get stuck parking a block or two away from your property and having to walk home just because of the limited street parking. If people have guests over to their home, this becomes a real issue as far as where in the world do all these people park. Street parking is the first con. The second con of living in Shelby Park is trash and litter issues. Unfortunately, I've seen it here this morning, even walking around the park. There is definitely trash in this neighborhood. People, unfortunately, are not picking up after themselves. And then, of course, because of the access to the alleyways, sometimes the Louisville Waste Management has trouble getting into those places. So sometimes there's a delay or issue with garbage pickup. But trash and litter is definitely an issue. And one of my clients even said that as a result of that, sometimes there can be a smell in Shelby Park. The next con is going to be crime. If you look at crimegrade.org, you're going to see that for overall crime, for property crime, for violent crime, it's rated this neighborhood as the red color. So it does have a higher than average crime incidence for the neighborhood. You can also hop on the LMPD crime map to see exactly what types of crimes are happening in this neighborhood. This was a concern of all of my clients who lived in this neighborhood. They said they see drug-related issues and gang-related issues. So there's a real question about crime for this neighborhood. Not my opinion. It's based on what we find in the actual crime reports themselves. So that's something to consider when moving to the Shelby Park neighborhood. Now, the last con I want to share with you is actually a pro and a con, and this came from one of my clients, but she said there is definitely an economic and racial tension in this neighborhood. As this neighborhood had gentrified over the last 10 years, you have a mix of the old and new, and she said that she thinks this is one of the most beautiful parts about living in Shelby Park that she absolutely loves for her family to be exposed to and around so many different types of people. But she said this also leads to the con of it can create a lot of tension in the neighborhood. I'm going to be honest with you. Shelby Park is not going to be for everyone. I may have totally just freaked you out with that con about the crime. Now, here in a second, I'm going to tell you two other neighborhoods that you absolutely should consider if you're considering the Shelby Park neighborhood. But first, before we do that, I just want to remind you that if you're considering moving to Louisville, Kentucky, or if you're moving within the Louisville metro area, I want to ask you, would you please reach out to me? Here's my contact information again. Call, text, email, set up a Zoom invite. I have people reaching out like you every single day who are moving to Louisville, Kentucky, and really want to work with someone who understands what it's like to relocate to an unfamiliar place. I actually relocated myself here 12 years ago, and I remember just how vulnerable I felt in not knowing the area, wanting to pick a safe place, not knowing where to move. And so it would be my honor and my privilege to help you navigate what it means to live in Louisville, Kentucky, and especially if you are having kids that need to be going to the school system. I love helping people figure that out. So if it's even just a question about schools, please go ahead and send me a quick text. I would love to help get the process started of helping you find the right fit for you here in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you're thinking Shelby Park might not be the right fit for you, then there's two other neighborhoods that I want you to consider. The first is Germantown. It's located just across the railroad tracks from Shelby Park. It's going to have a slightly higher price point, but it's going to have that same walkable community neighborhood feel. The architecture of those homes changes slightly, but that is a great neighborhood for you to consider. The other neighborhood that I want you to consider if you're looking for somewhere walkable is the Highlands neighborhood. Now, the price point is going to jump quite a bit to be able to get into that neighborhood, but you could also consider renting or even a more affordable condo or townhome. So be sure to check out that as well. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.